Okay, so let's jump right into this explainer on Chris Voss's incredible book on negotiation. And look, this isn't your standard business school theory. These are tools that were forged in the fire of actual high-stakes hostage situations. Think about this for a second. The guy who said this was the FBI's lead international kidnapping negotiator. He went toe-to-toe with terrorists and criminals all over the world. But walking onto the Harvard Law School campus to talk negotiation? That had him spooked. You see, it was set up as this epic showdown. You had the academics on one side with all their theories from books like Getting to Yes, and on the other, you had this former beat cop from Kansas City whose skills were sharpened in literal life or death scenarios. And you know what happened? In mock negotiations, Voss didn't just win. He absolutely wiped the floor with the Harvard experts, time and time again. And that experience proved something Voss had known deep down for years. When the pressure's really on, all those old logical rules of negotiation, they don't just bend, they completely shatter. It was time for a whole new playbook, one that was built for the real world. The old way of thinking was all about logic. Rational problem solving, trying to find that perfect win-win compromise. But Voss's new rules, they're totally different. They're powered by emotion. They actually welcome the word no, and they understand that sometimes the best outcome is walking away. A bad deal is way worse than no deal at all. So why does that classic, logical approach fail so badly in the real world? Well, it makes one giant fundamental mistake. It assumes that the person across the table from you is a perfectly rational being. And as Voss puts it so bluntly, that's just not who we are. We're all driven by these deep-seated fears, needs, and desires that we barely even understand ourselves. He learned this the hard way. Just try to find a win-win solution with a guy who genuinely believes he's the Messiah. It's just not going to happen. And look, this isn't just some negotiator's hunch. This is backed up by some serious science. Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman proved that we basically have two minds. You've got your slow, logical system 2, but then there's the fast, emotional, instinctive system 1. And guess which one is really in the driver's seat? Yeah, it's our emotional animal mind every single time. So here's the bottom line. Our feelings come first. That gut reaction, that emotional response from System 1 happens in a split second. And then our logical System 2, brain, swoops in to create a story that justifies that feeling. So what does that mean? It means if you can't read and influence the other person's emotional state, you are flying completely blind. Okay, so if the emotional brain is running the show, how do you actually work with it? This is where Voss developed a brilliant set of tools he calls tactical empathy. These are simple, powerful techniques designed to talk directly to that all-powerful System 1 brain. The first tool. Mirroring is so simple, you might actually laugh. Voss calls it the closest thing he's ever found to a Jedi mind trick. You literally just repeat the last 1 to 3 critical words the other person just said. It sends the subconscious signal that says, "Hey, I'm listening. I get you. We're on the same page." And if you're thinking, "Come on, that's too simple to actually work," check this out. A study looked at waiters. Some of them used positive reinforcement, saying things like, "Excellent choice." The other group just mirrored their customers' orders back to them. The result? The mirroring waiters got tips that were 70% higher. That's the power of making someone feel truly heard. The second tool is called labeling. This is where you just call out an emotion that you see in the other person, but you do it carefully. You don't say, "You're angry." You soften it with phrases that start with, "It seems like," or "It sounds like." And this isn't just some psychological trick. It's a neurological one. It's like a little bit of brain magic. When you label a negative emotion, like fear or anger, you literally shift the other person's brain activity from the emotional, reactive part to the more rational, thinking part. Just saying, "It seems like you're worried about this," can physically calm their brain down. It's amazing. So once you've used these tools to build a bit of rapport and trust, you can move on to a more advanced level. And this is where it gets really interesting. This is all about getting your counterpart to start solving your problems and making them think it was their idea all along. The key to doing this is by using what Voss calls calibrated questions. These are super carefully worded, open-ended questions that can't be answered with a simple yes or no. By asking questions that start with how or what, you give them the illusion of control. You make them feel like they're in charge. Now, this question right here, Voss says this is the single most powerful one in the entire toolkit. It's a really polite, really respectful way of saying no. You're not attacking their outrageous demand. You're just gently inviting them to see the problem from your side. What about when a negotiation just gets stuck in the weeds or goes totally off the rails? This question is your emergency reset button. It makes everyone just pause, take a breath, and get back to focusing on the big picture, on what actually matters. And this one? Oh, this one is pure genius. It magically transforms an adversary into a collaborator. You're not asking them for something. You're asking for their help. You're enlisting their brainpower to work for you on a solution. All right, I know what you might be thinking. Okay, Jedi mind tricks and FBI hostage tactics are cool, but how does this help me when I'm just trying to buy a car or ask for a raise? Well, the very first thing you have to do is get rid of the idea of compromise. We're taught that splitting the difference is fair, but honestly, it usually just leads to a mediocre outcome that nobody's really happy with. Remember, a bad deal is always worse than no deal. What you need instead is a system. For that, the FBI uses a system called the Ackerman model. It's basically a step-by-step playbook for haggling. You start by setting a really aggressive anchor. Then you make a few concessions, but each one gets smaller and smaller. It sends this powerful message that you are absolutely at your limit, and it guides them right to your target price, all while making them feel like they won. And the biggest takeaway here is that negotiation isn't some formal thing that only happens in boardrooms. It's life. From huge business deals all the way down to getting your kids to go to bed on time, we are negotiating constantly. So what this all comes down to is a fundamental mindset shift. You have to stop thinking of negotiation as a battle of logic and start seeing it as a process of discovery, connection, and emotional influence. It's about guiding, not commanding. And that really leaves us with the core choice at the heart of this entire approach. The next time you really want something, are you going to try to beat them over the head with your logic and your reasons? Or are you going to frame your problem and ask them how they can solve it for you? Give it a try. The results just might blow your mind.